1 o'clock.
But I don't get to go to sleep yet.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock, October. Oh,
You gotta find 3 pauses on here.
okay. 1 o'clock, October 5th, I'm opening the city councilors workshop. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
If the republic will stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I clarify everything here. We are allowed to have a workshop where the counselors can go over some stuff, have a discussion, and not take public input. So I checked with legal and everything. I have it in writing, so that's what a lot of the smaller towns do this once a month to every 2 months. Because that way all 5 counselors can know what's going on in the city. So this is what maybe we'll do a few of them. Okay, and we're sticking just to what we have here. So the first thing in your packet is the Wright House. There's a letter here from Schroeder Lawn Offices representing the Sumter Valley Community Volunteers. They are asking for us to donate the Wright House to them. And so we would transfer the ownership to them temporarily. So the question for this council, I don't know if you've all read the letter, is do we want to turn the deed over of the Wright House to Sumter Community Volunteers? That is the question. We have to let Paige know so she can respond to this legal document.
Well, does the city have any plans to use it for anything?
Not right. We've been looking for a grant,
Mm-hmm.
but our audits are holding that grant up right now.
But I mean, what would the city be wanting to use it for?
They talked about using it for meeting rooms, for there's been several things that have been put
An extension for the museum.
into the museum. So maybe a public some other public entity would use it for something. I mean, it's just something that we haven't, it's not in a condition where it can be used, so it hasn't come up
Right.
tax for.
The city doesn't have the money to fix it.
Well, that's why we're waiting for a grant. But all we're worried about here is if we're going to release it totally to the volunteers. That's the only question that Paige needs answers, if you can respond to this.
What about the red tagging? How would that be affected if it was
That's
turned
where-
over to them?
That's something we're not going to address today. The only question is how to answer how the city is going to respond to this one. Are we gonna keep the Wright House or are we going to? And I haven't got, and according to the deed, we have to get a approval from the state parks. And I've called them because it would have to be in writing, but they haven't responded yet.
All we want to do is answer this question, then I would say no, we keep it to the city. Because eventually, like I said, if the house falls down this winter or whatever, we will make better use of the city as a parking lot than anything, giving it away.
We're not, yeah.
It still is an asset to the city.
Is this a vote or?
I'm just trying, we can vote. Paige said we can vote on this. Even though it's a workshop, we can vote because she just needs to respond to that. And then we will go forward with any other funding.
Well, you see, there's more of an asset and more of a liability. I mean,
Okay, so tell me, get your guys' opinion, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
It's hard to come up with an opinion without doing a discussion.
Well, it's just, are we going to keep it and,
As it's the letter, then I would say we keep it.
and either get a grant or look at some other options, or are we just going to sign it off?
the volunteers indicated what their plans are for it.
Just what's in this letter right now, have you read the whole letter? Yeah, maybe you can read the letter.
So even if we agree to turn it over to the volunteers, it's still contingent on the park giving a seal of approval. So it would all.
In writing.
In
It has to
writing.
be in writing.
And I apologize.
Nope, nope,
You used to be able to ask
nope,
questions
Nope.
of the audience without,
nope.
because you're asking questions,
The
I
right
have
to-
answers for those.
I am only asking one question. How the attorney is going to respond to this letter? Yes or no, and then we'll move forward on other options. Get the, you know. Did you get it? Did you read it? Mhm.
I'm thinking under the city's current finances, if the city doesn't have intent in the short-term future of restoring or being able to obtain a grant, my only concern is that if it is left idle and isn't winterized, that there could be further damage to the structure. So without knowing what the city intends to do with it in the future, I feel that if it's not an asset to the city at this time, it may be behoove us to go ahead and release it.
Well, and I'm thinking with the one paragraph here, where it says the volunteers will agree to grant reversionary interest to the city in the event that they dissolve, then it comes back to the city anyway. And the fact that, the original granting deed requires it to be maintained for public use, can't be transferred to private ownership. So the basis of the use of the building will basically remain the same. Will be for public use. The only thing is, it relieves the city from the liability and the cost of maintaining it and all that, put that on the volunteers. So I'm kind of agreeing with Sherry, because we don't have, we don't have any grants in the pipeline, do we? Or anything like that for it,
We do, but not until our August. meeting.
not till we obviously do
One comment, I know we're not supposed to.
Yeah,
make
go
it.
ahead, go ahead.
You're assuming that if they dissolve, we are gonna get it back in the shape that we can take care of it and restore it to HIPPO standards. HIPPO, excuse me. So you're assuming that.
Well, yeah,
it will dissolve.
Even if it goes to the volunteers, they still have to follow the historic guidelines and all that. I mean, it's not like they, you can just go in there and change everything. It has to be done according to historic preservation. So there's really no difference there. I'm just looking at it from the point of view, is it really an asset to the city per se, to have that and continue with the insurance expense and all that? Do we pay the property taxes on it?
We don't pay for
There is no property
it. Not
taxes?
on the city.
No, right? No?
That's what we do.
So if we turn this over to them
Mhm,
and we deed it to them,
mhm.
then the city's out of it totally.
Yep.
We're not paying insurance, they can pay the water, they can pay the sewer, they can pay everything.
Until it comes back to.
Yeah, that's an if.
Well, you're looking at a 501c.
But the thing is though, the city will not be overlooking this anymore. So they can go and do whatever they want to do to it, correct?
Mhm.
Because we know,
Well,
we
they
know
have,
that,
they have to do, they can't do whatever, they have to do it for
For historic. sites.
historical
or
requirements.
like I said, in this letter right here, it says that they're going to get the proper permits and everything. Does not say that they're going to get the proper contractors to do anything. Because basically, when it comes to the, and I said it before, and I'll say it again, and I don't care.
Mhm.
When it comes to the volunteers of doing this, the only thing that they will be able to do is paint and cut the grass and trim the hedges. Everything else, any screws, nails, or anything else that has to be done by a legal contractor.
Historical contract.
Historical
And we'll get that
contract.
again, the head shape over there.
I know,
It's a historical.
I know.
This is the reason why I say that we should keep it,
Mhm.
because otherwise it won't be right. Because it's already done that way.
So I guess the motion,
Yeah, either pass or kill it.
and I make a motion that we not turn over the right house to the volunteers.
And I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made. Daryl, how do you vote?
With the way this is written and everything, I don't turn it over to volunteers.
Mhm. Marcia,
To vote no.
Charlie,
No.
Jerry,
I vote to turn it over to the volunteers.
myself, I vote no. So I will just have Paige respond that we're not going to turn the deed over to them. And then we will go from there on resolving this matter in different ways. Okay, the next thing on this agenda, what they know when it went out, everybody got everybody a little wild. We're proposing a small water increase.
Totally wrong.
It's 5%. And that equates to $2.25 increase for your water rate. That would be, the resident rate would be $46.75. Over the last 2 years, since the last increase we did, our expenses for the city have increased 17%. So we're way behind the curve. However, I know because of our residents, we can't afford to give a huge increase, so we're asking to do just a small 5% increase to start slowly catching up to where we should be. Originally, years ago, it was voted in to do a 3% every year, and they never followed through for about 10 years and never increased it. So we are behind. And if I want some discussion, and this will go to city council. I'm gonna send this on Tuesday to vote on it. Everybody's here.
So this is just residential. This is not.
No, this will be across the board. This is just a proposed. All commercial and residential will go up 5%. We just did, people were wanting, 5%, they didn't know how much it was. So matches we just did for residents, it'd be 2.25.
As an example.
It's an example. So, the commercial would be.
Based on the
They-
commercial rate.
Yeah, just
individual
be a
rate.
little bit, but it's still, it's not a large increase.
Yeah, it was
Discussion.
quite a few years ago, we were supposed to be raising it.
Well, yeah, it's been over 10 years ago, we were supposed to do it every 3%, I think,
And when was the last time it was raised?
2 years ago. And we raised it Yeah, to the hefty, and I, trying to get,
$15.
yeah, trying to get away from that, because as we all know, the economy is so bad. We're all, feeling the crunch. So I'd rather do some small increments, and so it isn't hurting everybody. More than,
The thing is, though, if we do this 5%, you're not gonna say it's gonna be an annual rate if you're going out, because then if we do our water meters and stuff and we need to raise it, we need to do that again.
well, yeah, the water meters is gonna change things.
Well, the thing is, though, my thing is, well, if we put it in the record that we're only doing 5% every year
Mhm.
on an annual year of the raise, then people will come back and say, you said you were only gonna raise it 5% every year. And now you guys are trying to get it back where the state says you gotta be.
I'm just saying 5% for right now. I don't know if we want, that's the discussion. Do we want to put this in as for every year? Or do we just want to do this one time and see where the rates are going to have to be once the water meters are in?
That's what I would say should be done.
Okay.
Because
Do a
that way,
one-time rate.
do a one-time 5% if you want, we can do that immediately,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Throughout, and then once the water system is completed, and we figure out where we need to be, then we can come up and raise it to where we need to be, and then set whether it's a 3% or a 5% every year thereafter.
Mhm. Yeah, because technically the meters are supposed to be in next year.
What are we gonna come up with? a
I'm
base
not,
rate?
I'm not really seeing it happen next year, unfortunately.
They're not here.
Yeah, they seem to not show up. So, so are you guys okay with a 5% one-time base rate?
No, but I understand it's a necessity.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
Well, I'm not asking if you're happy.
I know.
None of us are happy with it.
This 5% is not where you're gonna be for water.
Yeah.
Okay, the highest water bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know.
This is just for water because everything's gonna really change when we get the meters, change a little bit at least.
None of us are happy about it. We all gotta pay it. Even us. So, that's the way it is.
Well,
Well, the thing is, if you don't keep the water running, then
Yeah.
you don't live here. And that's just the way that works.
Water is life.
I would suggest you guys think about it.
Well, I'm
Are
okay
you-
with it.
are
I
you
don't
okay?
know that. I understand the necessity of it and everything.
Okay.
And, I mean, the current rate's really not astronomical compared to when you look around.
Mhm.
Right.
I know some people pay $300 a month for their water.
I was paying 90 a month in Woodburn
And that's,
For just water.
for just water.
once we get our meters in, it's gonna make a big difference. As long as they use a lot of water and, have their gardens and their yards and everything in those, it just, you shower, laundry and that type, it's gonna make a big difference. And,
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna be more fair across the board.
Well, Marcia, we just brought up the deal where you have to come up with a water rate,
Mm,
because we already did that too.
Yeah,
If you want to set it again, because like it says right now, I think it's 4,500 gallons, is what we're giving everybody.
right, it is.
And then, but that's like Baker only gives you, I think, 1,500 or 2,000.
It varies. When I checked it a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
every
it's all over
city
the place.
varies. It doesn't matter what, size of the city was. Some of them just kind of shocked me in how little water they gave you as the base rate.
And one gave me 10,000 gallons.
Yeah,
But,
but yeah, the prices were higher, the 10,000, so.
Right.
But that's,
Anything over the 10.
that's something, like I say, it's gonna change, as soon as the meters get in, if we're going to have to have a flat rate.
See, and that was one thing that I said all along when we were doing this water thing before. Up here in Sumter, 98% of the people up here don't have yards. So you don't get the yard usage out there. There are people out here that do have a yard. So on your water rate usage, it's gonna be a lot less. But I think that once you get it dialed in, and then you can figure out if you just wanna raise the flat rate. Because I think right now we're going, what is it, $2 or $2.50 per 1,000? Over $2. per thousand, over your 4,500.
So again,
Because
so,
4,500 is a lot,
yeah, so we're looking at a one-time
5%.
5%. And then it'll be revisited next year, hopefully. And we have our meters.
Well, the thing is though, is M2 doing the water meters? Or is the water meter goes with the transmission line that goes from here?
Okay, go with transmission line.
Yeah. So we don't have a contractor to put these in anyways. But we could probably have them done by next year if M2 gets the building. Because the tank's supposed to be in by the end of next year,
Mhm,
before winter.
mhm. The whole project will be completed by next year.
That project,
Yeah.
not this one.
No, but that's not this year. The water meters and stuff are slated for next year, 2025, 2024, 2025.
Okay. But the water meters are gonna be in conjunction with the
Well, the
transmission.
funding is all coming in. The funding is coming in together.
Together.
Yeah.
But whatever, who we get to do the
Mhm.
transmission line, is going to be the one to get to do the meters.
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to make sure we stay
Okay.
clear,
Okay.
or I stay clear.
So do you guys want to think about this or take it to council on Tuesday, think about it, or?
Oh, I don't need to think about it, I know what I'll do, but if you wanna wait for a vote on Tuesday, that's fine too.
Okay.
Or you can go on now and do normal things that you do.
All right, so what's I'm asking you guys what you want to do. You're ready to figure out what you want to do. I'm not running the ship.
But you are.
And I'm open. So it goes right back to you.
So, okay, I'm just gonna put this on Tuesdays, and we'll vote on it then. And if you guys have any additional thoughts.
Are we using that pen?
Not my pen.
This one is new and this one,
I think that was that pen.
have to write notes.
Throw it off the desk and get it back to me.
I know, they gave.
The next thing on here was, I know, I gave you this last meeting, the, US Forest Service wants, and they're asking again, they want to do their checking for flowers and frogs up to the transmission or the intake. And they want to do it. It takes them 2 years to do this. They're in the middle of doing it for the transmission lines and they want to continue to go up to the intake. And they've come back and asked, because they don't want to come back in 2026 and do it. Plus, when by then, it'll be more expensive and it'll take another 2 years. So they're wanting to do it right now. And the only hitch is they want Pico to do the designs. They want designs for it. Pico's already done the survey, so that part is done, but they have to do all the designs and graphs and all that stuff. And I gave you guys at the last meeting the information on it. It's basically up to $49,000 to do all the designs. And Forest Service wants an answer because they're doing their survey or their research now. I talked to Rob. He says, yeah, we can afford it, but he'd like to find other avenues. Business Oregon is looking at it, but they haven't given me an answer. And Nick Ducote is now talking to Business Oregon too to see where to try to find the right verbiage to get this done, because we're going to have to give Pico and the Forest Service an answer here probably in a couple of weeks.
So theoretically, if we do it now, it's gonna be cheaper than if we wait a year or two.
Well, yeah, well, everything goes up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the engineering stuff is gonna go up. I mean, it's,
Well, the thing is too, is if you look at the bigger picture, the thing that's going to cost you is because the transmission line from the city up to McCullough Forest, that'll be one phase, and then there'll have to be another phase coming
Yeah.
the other way. So therefore, then you gotta have the same outfit or another outfit come in and put that in instead of putting it all in at one time,
Yeah.
when they're already here. And like I said, and right now, the transmission line from the inlet to the highway is the problem.
Mhm.
We have more problem with that line there than we do any other line coming to the city itself.
So,
So I would say that it would be something that we need to do.
so I just wanted to bring you an update. I'm hoping by
If we,
Tuesday we'll have,
if we vote on this as a go
mhm,
and you give the direction to HECO to continue,
mhm,
even though we don't have somebody that, well, I mean, you got Nick looking for
mhm,
funding, but the thing is though, is
mhm.
after we say yes, can we still get funding?
I
Or are
believe
we
so.
all on our own?
I believe so. I'll ask that question to Nick. Nico's gonna be here Tuesday, so I also, they're saying, I mean, I don't know, this still may not come up again until next year. I don't know. It's just mainly we need to decide if we want that line fixed, and have a whole new water line. And if we want to force service go forward. So I'm going to, bring it Tuesday. Hopefully Tuesday I'll have an answer from Brian if we can get him funding. What's included in the 49,000? Oh, this, you know, that book we have about this big, and big books like this, yeah, we'll get more of those. It's all engineering stuff.
So it's not actually, anything's completed, it's just, that's what we pay for engineering.
Well, they have, you know, they've done the survey,
And they're saying it's no more than,
it's no more than, in other words, could be less.
it could be a lot less, because
But,
we've already paid for the survey, and that would be the most expensive. The thing is though, instead of zigzagging back and forth the way the old line is now, we're gonna make it a straight line come down the road, so the engineering side should be pretty easy.
Yeah.
And that was gonna be like
Water
a 2-year job for them, or 2-year out job before, wasn't it? That they'd say to get through in 2 years and then.
forcer.
For service. and then-
Right, and so they've been working on it since last year to do the transmission line here. And they're just saying, we're here, we'll do it, and then we'll be all done. We
Yeah,
won't have to wait another 2
yeah,
years.
the stop going down the road.
So just wanted to give you heads up to think about that, because,
And we'll bring that.
Nico's gonna be here on Tuesday, so we have a chance to talk to them a little more. And, got a call in for Business Oregon, and so does Nick, to see how we can push it, because we're asking for a 50-50 loan. This is gonna be a free ride on this thing.
Then the loan's gotta be big enough to do the transmission line and the meters.
This is not, has nothing to do with me.
That's just a transition.
This is just from Macaulay Creek to the intake.
Yeah.
This is phase 3.
Okay,
So all this is just do the design.
the engineering, okay.
And that's the problem. They don't like to give full grants just for design. So anyway, so that'll come up that'll be on Tuesdays. Because we need to, we really need to give them an answer.
Hopefully, we'll get an answer on trying to.
Oh, I'm
I'm
trying.
not gonna be here Tuesday. No,
You know
don't do it. Good fault.
what? This fall.
I assumed that he wasn't gonna be here, but that's if I told
Okay.
Charlie got an assumption
Okay. And the only other
even.
The only other thing we had is, yes, more people know, you guys know we have our water line that we need to be fixed. Up the street.
You're still waiting on the,
Well, we were waiting on the contractor and boring things out. So then we got permission from ODOT to do the cut. And then COVID hit the contractor crew. So he has passed us on to a gentleman that's supposed to come up this week and look at it, and he has his own asphalt equipment too. So, because he's coming up and hopefully can get right on.
yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, it's crunch time.
Scratch that.
you know, it's just, you know, I mean, his crew's sick, so what are you gonna say? So anyway, that's where we're at on that.
And do we have to go through a whole nother set with them,
No,
or would they be considered like a subcontractor?
yeah, because he's,
Okay.
you know, he's just, you know, he can't do it. So he said, so we're seeing, I mean,
We
and,
get it done.
well, so that's it. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Okay, we're adjourned at 1:30. What did-
A month?
No.